It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, and we bid you welcome to another interesting edition of VOP this morning on Voice of the People Television. I am Fina Okechukwu, and on today's topic, we have interesting topics to look at, and one of it is how court adjourns Nnamdi Kanu's case indefinitely as the IPOB leader criticizes Nigerian prosecutors and judiciary in general. Yesterday, if you watch a video that been made by Channels Television, and that particular video, he was very, very upset to the point that he had to tell a lawyer that was talking, "Don't talk when I'm talking. I don't know what is happening. This is your constitution. Why can't they interpret this?" And a whole lot. And some Nigerians, asked this question: what is really happening with Nnamdi Kanu and the case? Is it that some, and maybe the judiciary cannot interpret? Or are we seeing, another thing playing out? Maybe where some people are beginning to, not follow what the constitution say, or try to take sides, or try to be biased, and a whole lot, And also, if you check the story so far about the recusal of Binta Nyako, as the justice presiding over that case, and how she was also restated back, it's raised a whole lot of eyebrow. But anyway, I'm not alone in the studio. I have my wonderful crew. Good morning, Chukuma. Good morning, Moses.
Good morning, Fina. Good morning, Moses.
Good morning, guys.
I'm Chukuma Okoro, and thanks for joining us on this show. Let's start with the courts as Supreme Court rules against Governor Fubara's appeal, upholds pro-Wike Assembly leadership.
Well, these are the conversations we'll focus on this morning, but there are other things that we will also touch on in the course of the program. As usual, we want you to be part of everything we do right here. So do well to follow us on YouTube. We are Voice of the People TV. On other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. And then you can also send messages to us via the number 0904 473 2605. That is 0904 473 2605. Now, with that number, you can send WhatsApp messages. You can send 1-minute video of yourself reacting, of course, to the conversation we're having. Now, let's go into some other trending stories. Now, the Nigerian police force has ordered personnel to pay the 2025 Police Officers' Wives Association dues. And this one is led by the IGP's wife, Elizabeth Egbetokun. Well, officers from the rank of ASP are asked to pay 12,000 naira, while inspectors and the rank and file will pay 6,000 naira each. And these dues are to be paid on or before Thursday. There is a deadline to it. Thursday, 20th February 2025. And we hear that this one is unfailingly. Now, this is as reported by Sahara Reporters. Reacting to this one and looking at the number of policemen we have, I think we have approximately, 308,000 or thereabout that we have. This will amount to billions of naira. Now, I was hoping to speak to somebody within the police force to get clarity on this, but I've been unable to, because this broke yesterday evening, and I've been unable to confirm this. But if this is anything to go by, should they be compelled? Should they be compelled to pay these this dues? Until I get my facts right before I give my view on this one.
This particular one reminds me of, how some people wake up and say they're creating an association. I think we have a Association of Armed Forces Women or thereabouts. They have the one for the fallen heroes and all that. And, first question that came into my mind when I saw this particular information is, these police officers' wives, were they being forced to be part of this association? Now, if you're not being forced to be part of the association, what benefits are you getting from being part of the wives of the police officers? That's on another side. And another part again is, I believe this association have been there for so long. They've been paying this money. They've been paying the dues, if I'm to use that word. Why is it that it's raising eyebrow at this particular time? When I was reading what Sahara Reporters, penned down in the website, I saw a particular reaction by a police officer that says that the due is not legitimate. You know, they're being forced to, they're being mandated to pay. If not, why wouldn't they take it from their salary? Why make them to pay the cash? Because there was a directive that say you bring
paid in cash,
you know, and you bring it to the office.
That's of concern, really, because if you're paying cash, that means the money cannot be traced. You know, but if you do transfers, then the money can be tracked, and if it's taken from your take home, then it can also be tracked. But like the officer did say, according to that report, it's a valid question. Why isn't it deducted from their pay?
All right. Well, I don't work with the Nigeria Police Force. I'm not a member of that association, but I don't see any problem, you know, with asking people to pay their dues if they belong to an association. I mean, if you belong to your village association, it's compulsory that you pay your dues. If you belong to your old boys association, you know, your alma mater, your alumni association, you pay your dues. But I think the critical question here, the critical issue is, why is the money being asked for in cash? It raises a lot of concerns. And, you know, if I talk again, they'll say, this man, you see, the Nigerian police has a way of, they don't even help themselves. They don't even know how to burnish their image. They don't even know how to, clean up the mess that surrounds around that institution called Nigeria Police Force. They never miss an opportunity, you know, to tell Nigerians who they are and what they are. What is this? If it is, what if somebody makes a transfer? Like Moses, my colleague, has said, look, even Fina alluded to that too. The moment you begin to say bring cash, there's no way you can trace the money. Someone can even deny you. You didn't give me any money and all of that. So let's see that. Let's see how this thing will be resolved. If I don't know about the legitimacy or otherwise of it. If you belong to an association, it's obligatory that you pay your dues, because there are also benefits, you know, that accrue to you as a member of that association, especially the police force. You discover that sometimes when policemen die, you know, it takes a lot of time for their families to assess their benefits and all of those things. So if this one could be a buffer, you know, like to cushion the hardship within that period, it's a good thing, but they should also ensure that, look, there's a certain level of transparency and accountability.
Another part again to look at is this money, are they being collected, this particular money now, 12,000, 6,000 for some persons, is it a monthly due? Is it a yearly due? Is it a quarterly due? Because if it's a monthly due, for example, constables, according to inquirysalary.com, you know, where they earn 43,000, 43,293 naira.
It's going to be an I don't know.
A monthly due?
No, it's going to be an annual due. Except if you want to say,
I don't know,
is this
because
a Lagos club or is it a Kenya? You have to pay 12,000 naira.
Because that also was what I wanted to ask. If it's a monthly due, and you take that away from someone's salary,
I think it's an annual thing.
So,
well, let's look at a few other conversations. Now, this one broke yesterday, and we talked about it on Newspaper Review. Students of the University of Ibadan College of Medicine protested the prolonged power outage at the University College Hospital, UCH in Ibadan. Now, they demonstrated for over the power outage that has lasted over 100 days. As of yesterday, it was 107 days. And, you know, they expressed their frustration. Fortunately, the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, was present at the premises of the university when the protest took place. And also, the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, IBEDC Students Union President, Bolaji Aweda, demanded immediate restoration of power and implementation of a 50% waiver for tertiary healthcare facilities. Well, the minister assured the people that the issue would be resolved and UCH reconnected to the grid. UCH was disconnected from the grid because of monies owed. Well, we hear that that was done sometime in October 2024, because they had accumulated over 500 and something
495 million.
Pardon?
495
million. 400, almost 500 million naira. Well, now I think government should have taken this into consideration, knowing that policies that this administration is embarking on will affect healthcare. And if you disconnect a health facility because they are owing, without proper measures to ensure that whatever is being owed is paid and power is continually given to that facility, that means you don't care about the lives of people that visit that institution. That means you're basically saying that, look, if you guys want to die because surgeries, cannot be done, that's your business. Get the institution to pay. But I think that would be a wrong approach to the issue. Whatever should be done to ensure that power is restored, monies owed are paid, that should be done as soon as possible. And then there was a conversation that was debunked that patients were beginning to bring in generating sets to, power wards. Well, that has been debunked. We don't know how true. It's been debunked anyway. But then we know that one thing is for sure, that lamps and lanterns and solar lights and everything are brought into the ward for people to at least see. And imagine patients waiting in the dark for hours on end. And you know what it feels like to go to a hospital, a regular hospital in Nigeria. If you're there to care for a patient, you will fall sick yourself because you'll be exposed to mosquitoes. The wards are not, nets are not properly placed on the windows and the doors. So whoever is there to care for a sick patient ends up falling sick themselves. And, a lot more should be done to the healthcare sector to ensure that lives are saved in these facilities. Interesting
to know that the first university teaching hospital in Nigeria is facing this one. And my own concern is about the students who are, I'm talking about medical students in that facility. Without light for 100 days, one want to ask, what would be their fate academically? Because sometimes students need to get to the lab, to the cadaver room, to dissect cadaver and all that. And the fact whereby you have to get there in the evening or have a lecture scheduled for evening or night class and there's no light, how will you not be able to see what you're doing?
That's why they excel abroad, because they would have gone through tough training.
This particular tough training is not needed. Is what we can avoid at this point in time. But more when you're talking about the facility not being accessible and all that, it reminds me of a particular story that an individual penned out. That's Adola Shoeton. He said something about a railway line, a train station, from Agege, Lagos, or Miadio here in Nigeria, not having power, total blackout. And the reason is that, I think the Railway Association did not want to go through going for discos to generate power because they know it's going to be high because they've been pushed to band A and they might not be able to generate the power, so they resort to using gas and all that. And they can't even afford the diesel. Imagine when you as a passenger, you're waiting at the train station and there's no light. Everywhere is in total darkness. I
think government should reconsider the policies it's putting out there. There was also a video I saw of a lady who she said she was making content of herself really at the train station in Lagos, and she was accosted, asked to delete the video. If she didn't delete it, they were gonna they asked her to get down from the train, and then she kept yelling that, what's the problem? This is a public place. I'm making a video of myself. I wasn't trying to, do anything to harm the place. A lot of questions are being asked. People should not be cowed from expressing themselves. Well, that's a different conversation entirely anyway.
You see, Moses, the issue of, a quick one on this issue of asking a lady to delete a skit she was making.
Did you see the video?
I didn't see it.
Okay.
I didn't see it. But someone else said something about it too. Okay. Before you talked about it now, I had heard it. Now, the issue, when the issue of cyberbullying, that act was raised, a lot of people dismissed it, that it doesn't mean anything. And before that act came up, they had also taken one bill to the House of Representatives saying that if you insult a government officer, that will be liable to a certain number of months of imprisonment and all of that. When Nigerians put pressure on the House of Representatives, they stepped down the bill. This cyberbullying act is part of that move, to cow Nigerians, like you said. Let me move away from that. Now, the issue of the teaching hospital, the UCH and all of that, we talked a bit about it yesterday, and it's good that it's in the open now, that the students had to protest, because one of the panelists was of the opinion that, look, some of these things are exaggerated, that he doesn't understand how a teaching hospital of that magnitude could be without light for over 100 days and all of that. I mean, he doesn't need any evidence again. The students themselves spoke and Nigerians heard them. Now, like I said again yesterday, let me repeat myself. The issue is layered. Part of the problem is that people have to take responsibility, both the government and the people. Some of these things in these universities, not just UCI, UCH and all of that, all the federal teaching hospitals, all the state teaching hospitals, facilities there don't work because the people that are in charge of those facilities don't want them to work. Why? Because they have all those facilities in their private hospitals. So when you come, they simply fly before you, oh, sorry, this thing is not working, but I have a place where you can go and do it. Sometimes they even tell you that it's cheaper. By the time you get there, you discover that it's not even cheaper. So it's a certain level of responsibility that people should take for their actions and inactions. We can't continue in this direction. The problem is with us. The problem is about Nigerians, not about the system. It's about Nigerians. It's a human factor, you know, and all of that. Let's see how this issue can be resolved, you know, so that people who can afford private hospitals can at least get treated in the teaching hospital and all of that.
All right, and that's how far we can go, you know, taking a quick peek on the trend and stories. It's time for us to go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be looking at the cover pages of the national dailies to stay with us. And remember that with Voice of the People television, you have more than a voice. So we encourage you to call the number you see scrolling on your screen, and also send us a video or a message via WhatsApp where you'll be reacting to any of the topic of conversation that also interests you. We'll go a quick break, and we'll come back, we'll kickstart. Do what to stay with us. Thank you so much for staying with us. It's still VOP this morning, and it's time for us to view the national dailies as a front page of the national dailies. And we have a whole lot before our decks. We have the Daily Independent, the Punch newspaper, Vanguard, Nigerian Tribune, Nigerian News Direct, The Sun, and a whole lot more. And I would like to start off from the Daily Independent this morning. And the banner headline on the cover page of the Daily Independent newspaper reads, Tinubu's $1 trillion economy target by 2030, still on course, FG assures. Right after that story, inaugurates presidential committee to drive economic inclusion. The story is actually a big story on Daily Independent newspaper. Then the video headlines are, Rivers crisis, Fubara didn't lose case at Supreme Court, opposition reps. And right after that, Supreme Court reserves judgment on 4 appeals. CJN laments persistent corruption allegations, bias against judiciary. And away from the window headlines, we have other headlines on the cover page of the Daily Independent newspaper today to be, CBN awaits rebased GDP, shifts February MPC by 1 day. 3.2 billion naira infraction, reps ask EFCC, ICPC to probe ex-Labour Ministry PAMSEX. JAMB cracks down on exam fraud, sanctions 6 CBT centers. FG reviews private varsities application fee to 25 million naira. Halts fresh applications. And we have another bold headline on the cover page of the Daily Independent newspaper. Lekki Ebe Airport to be completed in 2 years. That's coming from Lagos government. And right after that story, as aviation stakeholders tax FAN to up its game. So we're going to have Lekki Ebe Airport very soon in Lagos. All right. And the bottom strip headline reads, lawmakers asked to stop Alia from selling Benue shares in Dangote Cement. The story is on page 6 of the Daily Independent newspaper.
All right, then let's go to another daily. Now the Punch is up next. From the Punch newspaper, we have these headlines. 2027, Obasanjo Atiku, others meeting. No threat, says APC. Ruling party unfazed as LP, NNPP divided over possible Atiku-Obasanjo collaboration ahead of next election. Varsity admission. JAMB set excuse me, 320 UTME benchmark for under 16 candidates. Okay. Hospitals groan over deaths as FG 50% power subsidy delays. 800 surrendered Boko Haram militants undergoing de-radicalization, according to DHQ. Laughable, some would say. Court adjourns indefinitely as Kanu demands case transfer to Southeast. And why Rivers withdrew Supreme Court appeal against pro-Wike lawmakers. Fubara, Uber driver killed, body dumped on Lagos Road. Unfortunate one, I must say. Edo Tribunal of Kwebolo closes defense as lone witness admits overvoting. These are the headlines from the Punch newspaper.
Now, let's quickly run through the Vanguard newspaper with the bold headline. Hardship. Many governors desert states to live in Abuja, NLC, Lambasts. And France, as prescription of unions in Kogi State, commissions 10 CNG buses for workers. And that story is on page 4. You have Edo Governorship Poll Tribunal. PDP, Aswe Ihadolo's camps in disarray as Okpebolo closes case. PDP crisis, legal advisor throws weight behind Ude Okoye. And the states now mandate drug test for appointees, employees. The results show Mr. and Mrs. Then there's a picture here about the 2024 Vanguard Personality of the Year award. It has various categories. You have Dr. Deji Adeleke, that's the 2024 Vanguard Personality of the Year. I think that's the video's father, Deji Adeleke. Okay. Now you have good governance, Yusuf Kanu. You have good governance, Oebanji, Ekiti State. You have good governance, Diri, Bayelsa State. You have good governance, Hope Uzodinma, Imo State. You have good governance, Chukwuma Soludo, Anambra State. And you have lifetime achievement, Peter Odele. You have Ugochukwu, Onyem Ugochukwu, lifetime achievement. You have Sule Lamido, lifetime achievement. And a couple of other categories that we'll get into in the course of the show. I have always asked the role of media in fostering good governance and democracy. How can you gather a group of people that run this country aground and you are giving them awards on lifetime achievement and good governance? What did they achieve? Do we have heroes? If we had heroes, would this country be in this mess? Let's move on to the next topic, please.
All right, that's how far we can go on taking a quick peep on the national dailies. I do out to join Chukuma and Moses for the newspaper review proper, and that'll be on top of the hour at 9 a.m.
Exactly. As much as he wants to during newspaper review. So if you want to see him vent and then see, the vein come out, join us again then.
All right, we'll go on a quick break. We'll come back. We'll swiftly move to the topic of conversation where we have a court adjourns Nnamdi Kanu's case indefinitely as IPOB leader criticizes Nigerian prosecutors and Judiciary. Do well to stay with us.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lawn.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. Catch up with the latest topics making the buzz, the stories that tick, the trends. Let's let you in on why they are trending. From politics, entertainment, business, lifestyle, and more. Analyzing the trending stories with top eyeballs. Hashtag on Voice of the People Television, giving you an insight to everything and everyone Nigeria is talking about. Showing on VOP TV, 10 p.m. Monday to Friday. Hashtag if it's trending, we bring it on. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. People's Voice, Mondays through Thursdays, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
Thank you so much for staying with us. It's still VOP this morning on Voice of the People Television. Welcome you to the conversation proper. And on the first topic of conversation, Nnamdi Kanu, the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, has strongly criticized Nigeria's prosecutors and courts for their inadequate understanding of the country's laws. After a heated appearance at the Federal High Court in Abuja on Monday, Kanu expressed his frustration, claiming that the poor legal knowledge of both prosecutors and the court is contributing to the country's decline and fostering injustice. And this happened yesterday, where he was before the Federal High Court in Abuja for the continuation of his trial. And this led also to the indefinite, suspension of that particular trial. All right, and we have a video to that effect. But before that, we have two gentlemen in the studio who will help us to dissect this topic proper. We have Prince Francis Chilaka, who is a political analyst, and beside him is Barrister Darlington Agomo, VOP TV in-house analyst, and he's also a political commentator. Good morning, gentlemen. And then we'll be we'll be going to our Oka station where we have Chris Arukwe. He is also standing by to be part of today's conversation. Good morning, Prince Francis.
Good morning. Good morning, Fina. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning, Barrister Darlington. It's good to have you in today's show.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Arukwe, if you can hear me. Barrister Chris, can you hear me? All right. We would like you to join the conversation, when you can. Barrister, let me start off with you this morning. Interesting. First time it was Nnamdi Kanu and his counsel asking for a law student who can, help them, prove a point for the person to win 1 million naira. in this particular case, he's now, accusing the Nigerian judiciary and the court of not understanding or not knowing how to interpret the laws that Nigeria have already in our constitution. What do you have to say about this now as a legal practitioner?
Barrister, before you proceed, let's watch the video.
Okay.
So we, take it up from there. Let's see the proceedings. What happened at the courthouse yesterday?
He was conscious official. I asked him to lose himself. Why did the chief judge not insist I was right? He left my case.
Okay, listen. If anybody is not happy with the case,
Go to appeal court. That's what you told me all the time. You are conscious official. You cannot preside over this case number again. Not in this life. You cannot. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever. A woman here cannot force this court to preside on my case. You cannot. Not today, not till forever. You are recused and you stand recused. Tell the chief judge, Nnamdi Kanu said, go on appeal. I recused him from my case. The state recused Justice Adema from my case. I did not insist Adema must hear my case. I never insisted. So why must you insist to hear my case? I don't want you in my case. I don't need you in my case. You are biased. You are biased. You cannot be in my case. A woman should do the right thing. A chairman of the board of bankers constitution is impropriety. Nowhere in the world is such nonsense done. You cannot be hobnobbing with lawyers, hobnobbing with justices, and you're proceeding a case. It's shameful. Absolutely shameful. Shameful. This is a shrine to injustice. And I will not subject myself to it. You stand accused and you must take my case. You cannot find me.
In the court where Nnamdi Kanu was very, very upset with the whole process, and he stood his ground to say that not now, not ever will Justice Binta Nyako preside over his case. And he actually stood his ground. He has a document also that he was also waiving and presenting in the court. Barrister Darlington, let's get your opinion on this particular one.
Yeah, Fina, what is going on with Nnamdi Kanu's case? Because I can't even call it a trial because they have not even started trying this case. This case have not gone into trial. It's just that the young man is not happy with the way things are going. I mean, a judge told the whole world that, look, my hands are off this case. And then the chief judge or whoever now insisted that she must continue. It is very suspicious. It is your right as a defendant in a case to say, look, I am not comfortable with what is going on here. And if you can adduce enough reason, somebody should listen to you. Yes. And the young man have adduced that reason that this judge presiding over his case, the husband and the son are also standing trial for corruption charges. And so, that she made a deal or there was an imputation that why they are insisting is because they want her to convict him so that they will give her a soft landing with the other cases.
Okay,
so, these are the things he said in court. I hope you remember. Now, if you have that modicum of suspicion,
okay,
it's enough because it should be in favor of the defendant. These are the reasons why Nnamdi Kanu said, look, you can't try me.
But Barrister, before you go on with your take, let me ask you, the reason the registrar of the Federal High Court said that he sent back Nnamdi Kanu's file to Binta Nyako is because there was no written application, made to Nyako to recuse herself, that it was oral, and now requested that Nnamdi Kanu and his lawyer should go back and do a written application requesting for Binta Nyako to recuse herself. What is the implication of that? If Nnamdi does the written application, what are the implications?
The judge, Justice Nyako herself, Binta Nyako, have already said it herself.
I know.
So
the registrar said it was oral application. What's the difference between oral application and written application? What are the implications?
Actually, in most cases, written applications are more superior when it comes to matters of legal principles.
So why is it that, do you know, can you fathom any reason why Nnamdi Kanu and his lawyer do not want to make a written application?
Well, that is left for them. I cannot tell because I don't have the details. But I've told you that most times, written documents are more superior in court evidence than oral.
Okay.
That's why most times the court will insist, why not put it in writing? So that there will be something to hold on to.
Okay.
In case of argument or denial or something.
And all of that.
Good. But the judge herself has already reclused herself from the case. Did she write any application to any Abuja Judiciary that, look, I want to have my, remove my case myself from this case? She did not. So why are you insisting that the other person should write? This is in fact, if you check, these are not even the meat of this particular case. The meat is that a Superior Court of Record have already told you that they don't have a law to try Nnamdi Kanu based on the rendition from Kenya. So why are you dragging this matter right, left, and center? The federal government have nothing to hold on to Kanu. That's why they have not tried this case. If they have a strong evidence against Nnamdi Kanu, they would have started this trial, whether Nnamdi Kanu come to court or not. After all, a certain Tompolo was tried in absentia and he was sentenced. Everybody is aware. He was sentenced in absentia, even though the same government is doing business with him. So what I'm saying in essence is that I don't know what the government is trying to gain from this particular case. Seriously, I don't know. Because even the Supreme Court have told Nnamdi Kanu to sue the federal government for what they did to him. Can you imagine? So is it that the federal government is trying to save face? They don't want to run foul of the law, which they have already done by what they did. Courts within and outside Nigeria have ruled in favor of Nnamdi Kanu. And his lawyer, Jimako, have packaged these 9 cases, 9 in favor of Nnamdi, and they are giving it to the Attorney General of the Federation. So what is the delay? Why can't you let this man go? What are you waiting for? What are you shopping for? Because it has become a case of you are shopping for something to hold on to something. Meanwhile, this is not there. Why are you still detaining this man when the court have already told you let him go? So it is very curious, and I expect every right-thinking Nigerian to prevail on the federal government to do the needful. To make matters worse, Fina, this same federal government are releasing terrorists, rehabilitating them.
You know, that is another question I wanted to ask you. Because you know
how do you add it up?
Sorry, Barrister, before you, Nnamdi did say quite a lot yesterday. You know, he also said that, look, it's the poor knowledge of the law that is affecting the judiciary.
Exactly, yeah.
We have an audio of what Nnamdi said. Let's listen to him.
Yeah.
Let's listen to him so that we can make more sense out of his own take, his own understanding of the case that is in issue.
Listen, this is the laws of Nigeria. The prosecution and this court doesn't know the law. That is the fact. Yes. Poor knowledge of the law is killing Nigeria. Poor knowledge of the law, they don't know the law. This is a federal gazetted law of Nigeria that says here that the chief judge of Nigeria cannot tell Binta Nyeko what to do. It's here. It's your law. Just obey it. That is why I do what I do. I agitate for Biafra. I agitate for Biafra, my right to agitate. My right. They turned it from treasonable felony now to terrorism. Stop talking when I'm talking. Sorry.
Seriously.
All right then. Well, there is we'll take that video again so our viewers can get the true picture of what transpired in the courtroom and how he was vented. But let me bring this to, well, you heard the audio. Or better still, if we have the video ready, can we just take that video now so we can get a better picture of how he felt right after the case yesterday. Can we take that one? All right then. Well, let's. Well, you heard what transpired yesterday. You heard what transpired yesterday, and you know how he spoke there. Now, some have said, look, that in that video, if we could, you would hear somebody say, "Tell him, he should be derobed. He should be derobed." People around him were, spurring him on. But some have said that in as much as the Nigerian government may not have a case based on how he was renditioned back to the country, but do you think he's making his case any easier with such outbursts in the courtroom?
Well, you can't.
Okay, Barrister,
is it me?
Well, it was for the prince, but you can react. No, you can react. Okay. Go ahead, Barrister, and then the prince will react.
You can't beat a child and ask that child not to cry. You see, whenever there is suspicion of injustice, except the person is have lost every sense of rationality, you will react. I've never seen anybody who is unjustly treated that will be happy. Nobody.
All right.
So I think his reaction and the references he made, they should look at it instead of looking at what the young man said.
All right.
Yes. Look at the references. Is it true? You say you are left a case. Why are they insisting that you must continue on that case? Why? It's against the law.
All right then. Okay. Prince Francis.
Well, I would start by saying that my problem with Nnamdi Kanu is the drama he brings to play. You have lawyers, and you should allow your lawyers to do what you've engaged them to do. It's common sense. It has this tendency of trying to shut down on people. I don't think it is helping his case. Yes, the only thing I take from what he said yesterday, which I believe a lot of Nigerians should be interested in, is the issue of the current indictment of the husband and son of the judge. I mean, that is something deep, and that is something nobody should throw away. So I take that. That is all I take from it. And I think because of that, the judge herself is already compromised. And that's the point he has made. It's a very valid point. And I think that is a point based upon which the chief judge should begin to think.
Well, the chief judge, Justice Binta, did recuse herself. And right here on this show, we learned from one of the lawyers that came on this show some time back that even if a judge recuses himself or herself from a case, the Chief Justice of the Federation or the attorney, the AGF, can reassign that same judge to that same case if they feel the reasons tendered were not, valid enough.
I agree with you, Moses. But you see, each day this case comes up, new things come up. When the issue of her reclusing herself from the case, this didn't come up. Now we're having a new evidence to show that, deep down, there's a reason for this woman to be removed or to be allowed to excuse herself from this case. I mean, it's like saying, oh, you're holding somebody, daughter's or son hostage.
So is that
and you're asking that person to adjudicate a case. What do you expect to get?
The government might use that as leverage to influence her decision?
Well, from what has been said and from what we know, it looks like she's been held hostage. It looks like her family members are being held hostage, and then they expect her to do.
Now, what does that even say to the government of the Federation? Doesn't that give the impression that government wants to, indict this man regardless of what the case might be?
Well, it's not just about the government. It's about our judicial system. It's to show you that the Nigerian judicial system has become very compromised. The truth, the symbol of justice and fairness no longer exists in our judicial system.
So it's not that they don't know the law or they wouldn't want to, they don't know how to interpret it.
You say they don't know the law, it's just been too sarcastic. They know the law, but they don't want to follow it the way it is. And that is why I keep saying that, for me, the 1999 Constitution is an obnoxious document that needs to be shredded because it gives you an opening here, or it indicts you here. It gives you several opens to escape. I mean, look at what is playing out in Rivers State, for instance. The law says when you decamp to another party, you lose your seat. But the same, the same law, now we're talking about Nnamdi case now.
Okay.
The same law says for you to do that, you must this. So it is those loopholes that politicians are holding on to.
But on the word of Nnamdi Kanu now, he said something about how the case, which was brought before him, was treasonable felony, but now it has been shifted to terrorism. So is it that Nigerian judiciary don't know about the case?
Have you ever gone to the police
station? And
you know
that IPOB, as a case may be, now they've been prescribed fully, they are now terrorists.
Have you ever been to the police station before? Pray that the police does not take you to court. Because at every point in time, don't forget, Nigeria is a country where people get arrested before investigation will commence.
Okay.
So once you're already docked, they begin to look for more, they begin to find reasons for them to, pin you.
All right, let me bring the barrister back into this conversation.
You remember, initially, when they wanted to try Nnamdi Kanu, the question of jurisdiction came in, and it's very important in a criminal trial. They said Nnamdi Kanu was saying things in UK. That was when Nnamdi Kanu said, okay, since this thing was committed in the UK, then you don't have jurisdiction to try me. It was at that point the federal government now removed UK part of this matter. They removed it. They are not talking about it again. Are you getting what I'm saying? Now, they have brought it back here, and then when the lawyers raised the issue of rendition, the federal government now discovered that they have committed. And remember very well that at the appeal court, Michael Zokome, he quashed the 15 count charges against Nnamdi Kanu. It's on record. So having quashed it, the federal government now started shopping for other evidences to indict Nnamdi Kanu. When the 15 count charges you have brought before the court have been quashed, please, what else are you looking for? Michael Zekome, he quashed it in the court. Everybody saw it. The man even knelt down and prayed to God and congratulated God for helping him to overcome this hurdle. Okay. So since that time, they have been shopping from one, this thing to the other. That means the federal government is not even sure of what they are pursuing.
All right, barrister, let me stay with you. We've talked the law of it. Let's look at the politics of the whole trial of Nnamdi Kanu. There's an angle I want us to look at. If you put everything together that has happened since the rendition and the cancellation of Nnamdi Kanu, does it look like the Igbo nation has abandoned Nnamdi? We don't see governors, we don't hear governors talking about release of Nnamdi. We don't see the Igbo intelligentsia wade into it, either behind closed doors or in the open. We don't see Ohaneze. The only statement they make is quite political. Does it look like he's been abandoned by his own people?
I don't think so. Mr. Okoro, I don't think so.
No, I'm just asking.
It's not that we are following, they are pushing the Igbos to become aggressive and all that in whenever they want to, demand for anything. It's not in our culture. I know some people who would have been carrying dagger, cutlass, and gun whenever this matter come up and insisting that their son should be. It's not in our culture. That's the truth.
But Barrister, essentially, I want us to look at the role of the elites, the Igbo elites, the role they have played.
They have done what they're supposed to do.
Like what?
They have made representation to Buhari and to Tinubu, the highest office holders in the land. They have made representation to the Attorney General of the Federation. You and I, we saw it.
No, we hear that the same people that go in the day go back at night and tell the president.
No, please, leave that rumor.
Is it rumor?
Talk of what you can attest to.
IPOB itself has alleged that, look, there are governors behind the incarceration of Nnamdi.
Did you see when they went in the night? In the law,
of course, you can't see a night caller now because another way. So if someone says another person went in the night.
No. Mr. Okoro, please, let us leave speculation here.
Okay.
The fact remains that the Igbo intelligentsia, the Ohaneze, the Igbo World Congress and all that, they have all made representation to the federal government. What do you want them to do? Is it when they carry gun and cutlass that you not take them serious? If the federal government is a listening government, they should have done the needful before now. I told you here, it's not in our culture to be protesting, carrying gun, marching. Since independence of Nigeria, have you heard the Igbos protesting and killing and destroying things?
But
So
if it's not in the culture of the Igbos, shouldn't, I thought they said desperate times calls for desperate measures. Shouldn't there be some sort of desperate measures as against the sit at home that was introduced earlier? Shouldn't there be something else that would speak to the government of Nigeria to say, look, the generality of Igbo wants the release of this man?
We have spoken now. We have spoken in a loud voice. I don't know what else you want them to do. I mean, the Igbo political leaders have they have written documents, signed, and taken to Tinubu. The lawmakers, is that not true? So when people are saying they are not doing, I don't understand. What is the government waiting for in this matter? What are they
even be doing that? Is it constitutional right for us to take that route, for us to achieve
anyhow you can achieve peace? That's what we are doing now. If not, from what the court have said, nobody need to talk to anybody to do the needful.
Nobody. Prince Chilak, I want to have your reaction to that question that I asked. Especially, I want you also to factor, to put in, to consider the fact that a lot of people have said, look, a certain group of political elites, be they governors or senators or whoever, the political elites, people, office holders in Igbo land, that are the ones, behind the continuous incarceration of Nnamdi. Because according to those sources, according to people that allege, they say that, look, if Nnamdi comes out, he is going to impact negatively on their political status, ambition, and all of that. 2027 is on the table, governorship is on the table, and all of that. And recall, too, that a certain governor, Chukwuma Soludo, in fact, says, look, the release of Nnamdi Kanu is not going to thaw the tension in the Southeast. I want to have your broad reaction to all of this.
Before I react to that, we need to be able to identify where this whole agitation starts from and where we've gotten to this point where we are now. I have always maintained that the Igbo leaders are culpable with everything that has happened in the Southeast and with what Nnamdi Kanu is presently going through. And I'll tell you why. There wouldn't have been need for this agitation if our so-called leaders in the Southeast, the governors, the senators, were doing the right thing. I am from the Southeast. I am ashamed of my governors, every one of them. I am ashamed at the level of lack of development in the Southeast. So when we begin to talk of agitation, I have always said before now that agitating to hold the federal government responsible is one thing. But let us bring it home. Let us hold our governors accountable because they are receiving funds every month and the people are not seeing what these funds are being used for. So that is where the problem is. Now, taking it further, have they done enough? Are they doing enough? I will say no. We are in Nigeria, you and I. We have seen how, when it comes to the North, trying to get their person out, we've seen how they go about it. Not violently, but we have seen the kind of people that come out to speak. And they don't stop speaking until they achieve something. Bringing it to the Southwest, we've seen it severally, where the leaders in the Southwest have come together as a bloc. And then they galvanize their people to say, this is what we want. How many people in the Southeast are doing it? How many? Your governors are not interested because your governors are saying one thing here, they're doing another thing on the other side. If the governors, as we claim, have come together to say they want Nnamdi Kanu to be released, why would another governor come out to say releasing him will not be a solution? Does it not show you that the House is divided? I've always said that Senator Abaribe has been talking, but has he ever raised the issue of the release of Nnamdi Kanu on the floor of the Senate? What are we talking about? It's not for you to call a press conference after plenaries. Put it out there. No, he has never. I have never heard him talk about it on the floor of the Senate. He only talks about it after plenaries. So we need to know what we want. our leaders in the Southeast have continued to disappoint us. Let us put it the way it is. And I believe they can do better. I believe they can galvanize if they are ready to speak with one voice, to appeal to God. See, the issue of Nnamdi Kanu right now has gone beyond judicial issue. Let us look at a political solution to it.
Now, talking about looking at a political solution to it, what impact does the prescription of IPOB affirmed by the Supreme Court just the other day have? What impact would he have on his case? Looking at a political solution to it.
Well, I will tell you.
Let's measure that side by side.
What I see playing out is give a dog a bad name to kill it. And that's what this government is doing. Because we know that it's only in Nigeria you have proscribed IPOB. Nobody in the international community has called IPOB a terrorist group. So the whole idea is, okay, if they can, like the Supreme Court has said, is a terrorist group, the leader of that group, obvious, is a terrorist. That is what they're trying to do. So for me, I do not subscribe to that. But I'll say this, whether the Supreme Court has said this or not, Nnamdi Kanu's case should be treated as a purely political case with a political solution.
All right,
if every now and then we accept that, you saw what played out in is it Kaduna State, where the government was holding meeting with bandits and terrorists, and they were all, showcasing brandizing their gun and all of that, and nobody got arrested. Have you seen Nnamdi Kanu with a gun or even a knife? So if we have a country where you can look at somebody who has killed many people, who have kidnapped people, who have collected ransom, who have maimed people, who have turned Nigerians into living in IDP camps, and you say they have repented, and you forgive them, and you absorb them. So why is Nnamdi case different? Okay. Is it because he's agitated? Is it because of the word Biafra is coming out? We need to know.
It's interesting to know that even today, the defense headquarters made us understand that 800 surrendered the Boko Haram terrorists who are repentant are passing through the de-radicalization process. And, after that, the next other thing we'll hear is they've been reintegrated back into the society. These are terrorist group members, and they say they have repented.
No, the funny thing, we know how this whole kidnapping thing started, especially in Lagos with Evans, the kidnapper. Now Evans is telling everybody through his lawyers that he has repented. In other words, he could be freed anytime, because that is the kind of judicial system we are applying in this country. And I keep saying, forgive and forget. Nobody's talking about the bruises. Nobody's talking about the pains. Nobody's talking about the sufferings. So how do we want to say there's going to be justice and peace when injustice has overclouded our sense of judgment?
Interesting one. That's a very, very heavy question there. How are we going to, make this whole thing? I wish that we can just sleep and wake up and find out that everything is working the way it should work. Now, Barrister Darlington, you were saying something earlier. I said that the case have not even begun, that the trial processes of Nnamdi Kanu have not started. And now with this indefinite adjournment of this case, where lies his fate? Is it that it's going to spend more time? What is really happening? What does this indefinite adjournment portend?
You see, when we are talking of tribal sentiment, one of the things that destroy a country is tribal and ethnic and religious sentiment in a very serious national issue. You and I know very well that if Tinubu have not come to power, Sunday Igboho and Shawore wouldn't have been released, because it was when he came into power, I think a month after that, this thing happened. Is that not true? When Buhari was in power, of course, his kinsmen, they were having a free day. Whatever they are doing, nobody bothers and all that. Dasuki has been released. Bawa has been released. Even this other guy, Al-Mustafa. So, what's the Wadume? Just name them. It's like when my man is in power, in like having Abraham in heaven, so you can't go to hell. So this type of thing is causing problem. It started since independence. That is why people are not happy with this amalgamation. We never see ourselves as one. Everything is tended towards religion, ethnic and tribal sentiment. Everything we do in Nigeria today. Is that how we are going to...
It's quite an unfortunate one.
It's very unfortunate, seriously. I don't know why people are not looking at it. Everything has to be, where did it come from? Which religion? Which, you know? And that thing has made Nigeria not to move forward. Are you telling me that if an Igbo man were in power today, Nnamdi Kanu will still be in detention?
That speaks to a larger problem.
That's the
speaks to a bigger problem of division within Nigeria.
I don't know.
Barrister, help us understand the clamor for the case to be taken to the southeast.
Yeah.
What impacts do you think that would have?
Because the man felt that he's been victimized in Abuja. And the guy condition, he didn't say that the case must be taken to Abuja. No, he said if there is no other judge in Abuja that can take over his case, then let them take it to the southeast. I mean, is that not a very fair judgment of his matter? He didn't see that no, he cannot be tried in Abuja. He didn't say so. He only said if there is no other judge, then take it to the southeast. And I mean, anybody
now going by what's been happening in the southeast, the seat at home, the unrest that has followed the seat at home. Do you think government would want to consider taking his case to the southeast?
In fact,
do you think that might create a larger problem?
The government will not consider, because any day the matter is coming up, the starting will be shut down. There won't be any space for people in court, even outside. If that matter is taken to the southeast, the particular state where this matter is to be tried, everybody on their own, no, not that everybody is going to induce them. They will shut down that state for that day.
Barrister, do you think that
the security station,
do you think that the federal government will care more for the safety of Nnamdi Kanu being tried in the southeast, or southeast being shut down? I mean, the southeast has been shut down every month for the past 3 years, and the federal government never blinked an eye. I mean, the attitude is like, if you like, stay at home, that's your business.
The thing is that even in Abuja where he's been tried, I don't think his life is being threatened.
No, that's what I'm saying. Do you think that the government will be more interested in his safety and will not take him to the southeast for trial, or because, according to you, the southeast will be shut down? I mean, the southeast has been on lockdown every month for the past 3 years.
The thing is that the federal government have to consider two factors here. One, the security situation that may arise, because definitely people will clamor, people will surge into the court and all that.
Okay, so they'll fear more for his safety.
Exactly, and the security agencies may not handle the crowd.
Okay,
that is one.
So it's essentially about the safety of Nnamdi.
Exactly.
They want him alive, not because the southeast will be shut down.
Good. So, okay. And even where he is now, Nnamdi Kanu has never told us that his life is being threatened. Okay. From what he did in court yesterday, he doesn't look like a sick man or somebody who is having health challenges.
Prince Francis,
he was so vocal and
do you
all
share
that.
The same view?
So what I think is that the federal government should not even think, even I won't even like it.
Okay,
I won't even like it. I won't.
Prince Francis.
Well, for me, it doesn't matter where the case is tried. For me, it's the fact that he's saying he doesn't want a particular judge, and in your constitution, your 1999 constitution, he has a right to do that. And I think the right thing to do right now is to say, okay, if he doesn't agree, I mean, you can't tell me there are no other judges in the federal capital that can take care of this case, except people are scared, or except that they are seeing something that we're not seeing. They're trying to avoid something that, like I said, maybe everybody just feels that this case, there is no case.
Okay, I think too. I think we need to clarify something. I hope I'm just correct, because Nnamdi, he wasn't particular about South. He said the former Eastern region. Could be Port Harcourt, it could be Cross River, it could be Calabar, it could be Uyo, it could even be Bayelsa or Yenagoa. I think that was the former Eastern region.
The bottom line of what he's saying is that he doesn't want Iyako as the judge of his case. Period. So anywhere you feel that you have a judge that can take it, if you have somebody in Abuja, fine and good. If not, any other place, including the Southwest.
Including
the Southwest.
When you are angry,
I was just referencing his his words, former Eastern region.
No, that thing it doesn't need to come up because the states have moved on. The regions have moved on. You can't go back. There is nothing like former Eastern region where you bring South. You know, South was under former Eastern region.
Exactly the point.
So he was saying it, but maybe out of anger or whatever.
No, I don't think he said it out of anger.
I
know where. No, let us be sincere.
We're not interpreting
I know where he's going.
We are saying
he is also,
exactly
no,
what he's saying.
what he's trying to tell you is that his agitation for Biafra is still there. That is what he's, he's trying to tell you that those are Biafra region, whether you like it or not. Let us not run from it.
You know, you cannot even pursue that until Biafra become reality. Even the South people, ordinary Ohanes Igbo that they gave the chairman to somebody from River. Look at the hoopla it's causing. So you cannot force the people of the South into Southeast as of today.
I totally agree with you. Barrister, I think you are miscontextualizing the whole thing that I said, or what Nnamdi said. Nnamdi is not trying to recreate the Eastern region. He said, if you can't try me if you can't find another judge in Abuja, take me to any part of the former Eastern region.
No. You can't say that. There is nothing like that now, as of today. He may have said it.
Barrister, is there no former Eastern region?
There is.
That's the point.
Yes, there is.
He's not trying to recreate it. He said, take me to any of the place in the former. He didn't say take me to Eastern region. He said former.
There is nothing like former because the former Eastern region included South and Southeast. Other what we're operating today, as of today, that is the nomenclature.
All right then.
So if you are saying former, where is that former Eastern region? Where is it today? Where is it? You can't name them now. You can't.
All right then. Well, let's move on to another conversation now. Supreme Court rules against Governor Fubara's appeal, upholds pro-Wike Assembly leadership. Staying with the Supreme Court, let's talk about this one when we come back from this break. Join us again.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. People's Voice, Mondays through Thursdays, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
Now, thanks for staying with us as we delve into the second topic of discussion. The Supreme Court of Nigeria dismissed Governor Siminalayi Fubara's appeal against the leadership of the Rivers State House of Assembly, led by Martin Amehule. Now, Justice Uwani Abba Aji noted that Fubara's lawyer, Yusuf Ali, senior advocate of Nigeria, withdrew the appeal. The court awarded costs of 2 million naira against the governor, payable to the Rivers State House of Assembly and Amehule. Now, court documents signed by Yusuf Ali indicate that the appeal was withdrawn on February 6, 2025, as it had been overtaken by events. The legal implications mean Governor Fubara must now abide by the Court of Appeal's ruling recognizing Amewule as the Speaker. Earlier, Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja nullified the 800 billion naira budget passed by the Edison Ehie-led faction and signed by Fubara. The court upheld a suit filed by the Assembly and Amewule against Fubara, preventing the governor from obstructing the Assembly's functions under Amewule's leadership. In December 2023, amid a political crisis and the demolition of the Assembly complex, Fubara presented the 2024 budget to 5 members of the Assembly, led by Ehie. We still have in the studio here with us Barrister Darlington Agomo and Prince Francis Chilaka. Gentlemen, thanks for staying with us.
Thank you.
All right, we'll also be joined by Barrister Chris Arukwe from our Oka outstation. Now, let me come to you, Barrister. Let's untie the legal knots, surrounding this issue. Can you help us understand the implication of this judgment? I know you've been following the reverse crisis. I want you to factor that, look, the reason why Fubara withdrew his case was as a result of the peace deal that was brokered by the president sometime last year in Aso Rock. Now, Fubara himself, fulfilled the bargain by withdrawing the case. Unfortunately for him, the other camp didn't. So let us understand the legal implications of everything. And going forward, does it mean that Fubara is going to, 2024 is gone, the budget cycle is run, start to finish. How about this 2025 budget? Is he going to represent it to the Amewule-led faction of the House of Assembly?
Thank you, Mr. Okoro. You see, the problem of Rivers State is becoming an embarrassment on its own. Embarrassment is the fact that the courts are being used to validate some of the illegalities going on in Rivers State. It is wrong. Clearly wrong. The issue is that when there was crisis in Rivers State House of Assembly, there was a clamor to bring the National Assembly to take over the running of the State Assembly, which is what the law provides, that where there is a problem in any State Assembly and they cannot function, that the Federal Assembly can take over the running of the State Assembly. Now, when there was such an issue, the governor went to court to challenge such a clamor. And from appeal, he went up to the Supreme Court. Now, events that followed made that idea and that law, and that suit, irrelevant. Because time and events have overtaken that particular idea.
What events are you talking about, Barrister?
That is what happened after that the people defected. Because they want to impeach the governor and all that, and then there was no State Assembly again when it was pulled down. All those things made the pursuance of that suit irrelevant. That's why it has been pending in court. That was what they ruled. And that was what the governor went to withdraw. Because what are you going to canvass in court? Because 2024 is gone and we are in 2025. So even if you make a ruling now, on what basis are you going to stand? Who will harvest the benefit of that ruling? That was what was withdrawn. And that was what the court based on their judgment on. In the first place, as I talk to you today, the Rivers State House of Assembly is divided. One is legally functioning, the other one, we don't even know where they are.
So with the Supreme Court's judgment now, is the one that was functioning now is it still illegal?
Of course.
But it will be restated.
Of course. The one that is functioning is the one that the governor presented the budget to. The other 27 lawmakers, their case has not been decided though. I hope everybody is aware. Their case have not been decided. And from the look of it, it may not be decided because whenever it's decided, they will never win that case. If Wike and his fellow traveler are certain that they would have made sure that matter is attended to, expeditiously. But they can't. Why do you ask yourself, why are those 27 lawmakers are still in limbo in Rivers State? Why? Because no court can rewrite section 109 when it comes to defection. You cannot rewrite it.
Barrister, I want us to get
something. So what the ruling said that particular matter that was withdrawn, that was what they dismissed.
But Barrister, I want us to get something clear. Because a lot of people are interpreting this judgment to mean that the court has reinstated Amewule as the authentic speaker of the Rivers State and 27 lawmakers as the authentic Rivers State House of Assembly.
And there was also a 2 million naira also that was also awarded, which was money that similar for Barrister to pay.
That is not the situation, please. Nigerians and fellow districts, that is not the situation, so that we cannot mislead the public. The case of the 27 lawmakers is still pending in court. It has not been ruled upon. It was that particular matter of taking over the Rivers State House of Assembly, which the governor challenged. That was what was ruled upon yesterday. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Okay.
Good. This other, their matter has not even been entertained. It's still pending in court. That is why. Did you hear that anybody have gone back to office or whatever? It is not possible. They defected and they remain defected. No court can rewrite that particular constitutional provision. It's not possible. So now that this matter has been decided upon, now the 27 lawmakers, somebody should ask Wike and his people, what is their position? Are you telling me that they did no longer defect? Have you heard such a thing anywhere that they did not, that the defection was not valid or whatever? Nobody has told us that now. As a matter of fact, there are so many cases pending in court because of this Rivers State issue. Are you aware? So many naughty, small cases here and there. So when they rule upon one, people will go to town and start jubilating here, there. No. Let us take it one by one so that you don't confuse anybody. I've told you what was decided upon yesterday. It is not the case of the 27 lawmakers, so it is not. That is the truth here. Because if they did, then you would have seen activities and all that. As a matter of fact, Mr. Okoro and my listeners, how can the court now say that what happened in 2024 is no longer valid? So Fubara should now go and bring the 2024 budget and then present it to who? You are talking of a budget whose last one has expired. Whose last one has expired. So which assembly are you going to present that particular this into?
No, I think I said that much in my question time. But my question now is there a likelihood that the court will now ask Fubara to resubmit the 2025 budget to that faction of
did you have such a judgment?
No, I'm just asking.
No, if they would have said it now. No, don't impute what the court did not say. The court did not make such a declaration. They ever said that the case of the 27 lawmakers is still pending.
All right.
It's still pending. That's why the court did not make such a declaration.
Prince Francis, Chilaka, let's get you into this conversation. What's your understanding of everything playing out in Rivers State? Because it doesn't seem like the storm is over.
Well, I'm not a lawyer, so I won't be looking at this.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, but
of course.
I think first and foremost, I need to say this to the media. The media has not been helping with the kind of headlines they give to stories.
I'm telling you.
They're misleading a lot of Nigerians. I've taken time since yesterday to study this particular judgment. And I think the media is not doing justice to it. They're not doing enough. This issue that was dismissed is a case filed by the governor of Rivers State when he was asked to represent the budget or the 2024 budget to
led faction.
Yes. Now, the budget has been implemented, time has gone, so it's even the governor that withdrew the case.
Because
he withdrew the case. So the Supreme Court is affirming that withdrawal and also saying you wasted our time.
So that's why defined.
That's why defined. So it has nothing to do with who is the speaker of Rivers State House of Assembly. It has nothing. to do with it. Absolutely. So the media needs to be, those who caption headlines in the media need to, they need to do a lot of work. They need to be more proactive. They need to be more sensitive to understand that whatever they put there, if it is wrong, the people run with it. The whole job of the media is to educate and inform the people correctly. So I hold the media responsible for all this. And also, I'm going to hold the lawyers responsible. Once a judgment is delivered, you see lawyers coming out to interpret it to suit them. We shouldn't be interpreting judgment of the courts to suit our own narrative, but we should interpret it to showcase what has actually been said and ruled upon. So the case of who is the Speaker of the Rivers State of Assembly has not been, it has not been heard. It's still there.
So as it stands, Okojumbo and his team still hold sway.
The case on whether those who have defected have a right to, or they are free to continue, has also not been decided. So let us not, in order to kind of play around with words, let us stop deceiving the people.
They were the ones that, I'm talking about the ones who say they are not legal yet until the court decides. They were the ones that received the budget for the year 2025 and it's already running.
Once a judgment comes out, everybody wants to take credit. Everybody wants to look good. Everybody wants to say, oh, we did it. We're the champions. But in a real sense, the case is just to say, I stated a case against Okoro. Time has elapsed. And I'm withdrawing the case. So how is it victory for Okoro?
Okay. All right then. But going forward, Barrister, going forward, the judiciary seems to be, tinkering with cases and leaving Nigerians a lot more confused. Are there no other ways of putting out judgments and, putting out CTC copies so Nigerians get to understand these cases as against hearing different interpretations from different lawyers or different people?
Yeah, whenever a judgment is delivered, the parties to that suit or case, then they should apply for the CTC copies. It is from there you now know that this is what was said and all that. Then if the press or the media are sincere to themselves, they can now do the needful somewhere. But when you see people trying to do the wrong thing, by misinterpreting what the court said, that is where this confusion comes. Like, we are broken it down here now. Nobody was able to tell Nigerians yesterday that this is what was said, though. They believe that the 27 lawmakers have been restated on what ground? That is what everybody, they forgot that there are many other cases on this matter that are pending in court. So, you mean when these things are ruled, people will now go to town and start misinterpreting. But the court has done their duty based on what was presented. No court can give you what you did not ask from them. What was delivered yesterday is that particular matter. I don't see how any court would now come and be telling Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, this is what we've done. No, it is not left for the public and the lawyers to go and down, inform the public properly. Instead of all this misinterpretation and misinformation. There is nothing else the court can do except to judge on what was presented to them. If you are going to misinterpret it, how is that the fault of the court?
All right, let me take a publication by one of the dailies and also some media outlets. This is taken from some organizations, more than one, as reported. Yes, I know you've said the media has played its own role in further confusing the people, but this is what was gotten from media personnel that were at the courthouse yesterday. I'm going to take this. This is, yes, it says, the legal implication of these developments is that Governor Fubara is now bound by the Court of Appeals ruling, which recognizes Martin Samewule as the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly. How true is this statement, Barrister Darlington?
It is not. It is not.
Even as a layman, that thing is wrong.
It is not.
You need to take time as well
because
to study it.
the governor was following another ruling by a court. Remember that told him to go ahead with those lawmakers that are with him, not the defected ones. So that was why the man presented the budget to them. Have anybody faulted it? How can you be operating with people who defected and say they are no longer with you? I mean, does it make sense? So the ruling did not reinstate anybody. It was a matter that was pending before.
Okay, Barrister, let's get out of the legality again and get into the politics of whatever is happening in Rivers State. Now, with the power of foresight, where do you think that this whole thing is going to swing? In whose favor? In favor of Wike or in favor of Fubara? I mean, I want you to put together everything that has happened. The camps, people that are with Wike, the former governors, Omehia, what's his name? Odele, Amechi. Amechi cannot clearly be on the side of Wike, even if he's not very,
He's still in the middle.
In the middle, but he might be gravitating towards Fubara and all of that. The big wigs, the former chief of army staff, and all of these people are. But on Wike camp, you just have even Austin Obara, former speaker of the House, deputy speaker, is on the side of Fubara. The only people that seem to be Lee Maeba is on the side of Fubara, former senator. The only person that seems to be on the side of Wike now is somebody like what's his name? Magnus Abe. Senator Magnus Abe. So if you put all of these things together, where do you think the whole thing will swing? In favor of who?
Look, the people that are behind you will not influence the judgment of the court.
Seriously?
Yes, now.
Okay.
How can you say because the whole of Rivers State is behind somebody, even if that person is guilty, therefore the court will now rule himself because people are behind him? No.
Are you saying that the Supreme Court doesn't give political? They don't give political cases, political considerations.
No. That means you are now committing illegality. And people will frown at such judgments.
No,
what is this?
In Imo State,
You said what?
There was a case that happened in Imo State that made Hope Uzodinma to be the number one citizen of that state, even when he came from opposition.
I'm not even traveling that direction. I'm looking at giving the Supreme Court can actually give a political judgment, to favor, to ensure that there is peace in the land. It happened during Yaradua's case, Do you think it can happen in this case?
No, in what way? Look, what is going on in Rivers State is different from what you are saying, the references you are making. This matter, the elections are over. The elections are over. It's a question of selfish interest here. I don't think if the court do the needful, not any Rivers State will burn. No, it's not possible. What we are now saying is that there is a pending matter, and it is a constitutional matter about defection. It is what the court will look at, not the crowd that are behind Wike or behind Fubara. That's what I'm saying.
No, Barrister, I want us to look at the role of strong men in politics. Do you think that if the Supreme Court goes ahead to say, look, the 27 lawmakers are the validly elected members, leaders of the House of Assembly, do you think that how can I put it now, that the outcome in Rivers State, if it becomes violent, do you think that the Supreme Court will not consider that in giving judgment?
Look, there is no way.
Considering the number of people behind the sitting governor.
What you are saying now is that, look, when it has to do with the constitutional issue here, I don't want to go through that because the first time it was done, it didn't help our judiciary, our legal jurisprudence. That was between Awolowo and Shagari. Okay. After that judgment, 12 to 3rd, even the Supreme Court to say that nobody should make reference to it in any law court. Is that a judgment? Then 6 months after that judgment, the late Graham Douglas, yes, he now told us the reason for that decision. That they want to avoid any problem. That even when the matter was still pending in court, Obasanjo was showing Shagari around the Don barracks and all that. That if you now go,
I'm happy that you are coming in this direction. Exactly what I mean. What do you think would be
but Fubara is already sitting now. The Fubara is already sitting, and the government is running in the River State. How can you obtain it and say because of whatever? There nothing will happen. If you do the meeting, that will tell that the two cases are different. Somebody is already sitting as a governor, and the governance is moving in River State. Everything is functional.
A lot of people will not see it as being different. Now, Prince, you've been shaking your head. Let's have your reaction.
I just believe that we have politicized everything in this country.
Okay.
And that is one reason why this country is not moving forward. We seem to give justice to the highest bidder. We seem to give justice to the most popular person. We seem to give justice to the man who has clout and supporters. But this is not justice. Justice should not be something that is carrying too much load on his head. Justice is something that should make people have a sense of belonging and know that the right thing has been done. I am one of those that has continued to say that we must have a system, a functioning system, whereby if you decamp from Party A, where you were elected as a senator, to Party B, you lose that seat automatically. We don't even need to go to the courts.
He's only a senator. What of a
No. I'm just giving a inference, okay. Yes. So you don't need to go to any court. It's just the INEC will just immediately, on their own, the power is vested on INEC to declare that seat vacant. I am telling you,
David Umahi left PDP to APC. He retained his seat. All the lawmakers that left with him retained their seats.
You're still not getting my own argument.
Okay.
My argument is that it's an infraction.
Okay.
On the democratic tendencies.
Right.
It's an infraction on the will of the people.
Okay.
The people voted you in say Labour Party. They would have voted in PDP, but they voted in Labour Party. So why would you leave the party that voted you into another party they didn't vote in and you maintain their seat?
Okay.
So for me, there are things we shouldn't be taking to the courts.
You think this is not a fact?
We should empower INEC to say that the moment you open your mouth and say, I have defected, immediately that same minute, INEC would declare that seat vacant.
No, what do you think is making INEC not to have done what is needed in River State? Is it because that the people who defected moved to the ruling party, as a case maybe, as some Nigerians are beginning to point to? Because
I wouldn't want to toe that line of the ruling party, but I just believe that INEC is incapacitated and shying away from her responsibility. That's just the truth. Because if we keep saying because it's the ruling party, we'll see people who are not in the ruling party moving to other parties. But the thing is, the law must be such that there will not be any loophole for anybody to escape. You win election in Party A, and you feel that because your party is not in the ruling party, your party is not the ruling party, and you want to go to the ruling party, you should automatically leave the seat. So the kind of democracy we practice in Nigeria is weird.
Okay. Prince, let me ask Barrister Darlington this question. Barrister Darlington, the legal department of INEC says that, I think a certain question was asked them, say, why is it that you have not called for by-elections in River State? You know what INEC said? INEC, the legal department said, that they are even confused because of the number of cases and number of judgments on that matter alone. Do you think that they were being smart by half? No. Or do you think that they actually meant, legal department of INEC?
Yes, that's a fact.
Do you think it's a fact or they were simply playing politics?
You see, the reason why some of these things is festering is because most times people don't challenge what is wrong. Are you getting it? Before now, people have been defecting and nobody bothers and all that. But that of River State became such a huge issue because 27 out of 32. In fact, it's a huge number. Almost all the state assembly members defected. That was why it became an issue. If it is 1 or 2%, I'm sure nobody would have bothered. That's the truth. And so, because of this type of laid-back attitude, people now take it for granted. Look at Ned Nwoke now. His own is still pending. He's still loading somewhere.
No, it's not loading. He has defected comfortably.
So, good. So, what is it? Because the PDP is preparing to go to court against him. What I'm saying is that there are precedents. The Supreme Court have ruled on this matter, Mr. Okoro. People just want to know what you can do. They deliberately want to go and put their finger in your eyes and see whether you will challenge them.
So what do you think that the position of INEC is that INEC is playing politics? They know what to do.
Yes, now, yes, yeah, because even at INEC, the cases in court have tied their hands. That's the truth. The cases in court have tied their hands because they cannot go against a court ruling or a court judgment that says, look, stay action until so and so. When an appeal is pending, what are you going to do? You won't do anything now. Ask yourself, why is it that the issue of the 27 lawmakers in Rivers is still pending up till now? Is it for nothing? No. There are cases in court. So if we can know that thing will be in his favor, I'm sure they would have made sure that thing is attended to speedily. But they cannot. They kept it there so that they are looking for evidence, shopping, just like what they are doing in Nnamdi Kanu's case, looking for something, loophole here and there, to see whether somebody will come up with something that will give them judgment in their favor. But it cannot, because the Constitution is very clear. And the Supreme Court have already ruled on the same matter previously. So the president has been set. That is the problem here. So they cannot use appeal to keep the matter pending until Jesus Christ comes back again.
No, Mr. Agomo, I want to totally disagree with you. Disagreeing on the grounds that we have institutions that are not working. There are no clear rules of engagement as to the powers of INEC.
There are.
INEC has said severally that they are waiting for the court to make pronouncements. And it is what I'm saying is that it is that loophole of having to go to court that is causing all this problem. Let us look at the electoral laws again. Let us empower INEC and say, the moment you mention the word defection, the seat is lost. I am telling you, nobody would defect. But because they know that law does not seem to hold so much grounds.
But you can also defect if there's crisis in your party.
You need to define the crisis.
INEC cannot take
that.
That is why I said that the Constitution gives you an escape ground. I can be a member of Labour Party, and I can, because I want to defect, I can start initiate crisis in the party. So what are we talking about? I can initiate crisis.
All right.
So when we say crisis, that crisis must be such that the party structure has broken down completely. But as long as the party is still functioning, there are no crises.
So, but let's look at the issue of Ned now. The fact that the party was undecided at that time as to who the national secretary would be, and then the party chose Udo Okoye as against Samayahu. Can that be?
That is an internal problem of the political party. It's not a crisis. So I have been a secretary of a party,
what should be our
and I know this is how. When you talk of crisis, means when there's total breakdown where nobody is attending to anybody, where the party structure has gone. But if you are saying that there's a vacant position, or you've declared a seat vacant in terms of the organization of the party,
okay,
and you're saying, two people are vying for a post, it's not the problem. Two people vying for a post. It is not. Ned Nwoko is just preparing himself for governorship. Let us put it out there.
Yes, I wanted to bring in that angle.
That is what, whether you form a state or not. He's preparing himself for governorship. So he's doing everything he's doing. You cannot tell me that because two people are saying, "Oh, I am the national secretary."
But you do recall that there was a brawl at the meeting venue.
Okay, in political party, then they throw chair. People they fight.
So isn't that
It is no, it is not crisis.
What is crisis?
It is not. That is not the kind of crisis that will make anybody leave the party. If this kind of crisis was going on in the ruling party, will hit the camp?
That brings me to the question I will ask you.
Will hit the camp?
Francis, I said, is it the
It's about personal interest.
Is it now about the party people are moving to? Because we could recall that all the people who are moving from other parties are moving into the ruling APC party, and nothing is being done to them.
Let me tell you the truth. Let us say it the way it is. It is because when you are in the ruling party, there are largesse that comes with it.
So that's the reason they are.
So people are looking at where they will make more money for themselves, where they will benefit more. So it's not about whether there's crisis or not. APC has its own crisis. Look at what is playing out in Lagos now.
What exactly?
Where Obasa and GSC and the State House of Assembly. Is that not a crisis?
Is that crisis?
What is it?
Now I'm asking you. Is that crisis?
If they were not in the ruling party, don't you think people would have decamped? Don't you think people would have decamped?
So, okay, Barrister, let me ask you this question, please. Ned Nwoko was very clear when he said, look, I'm leaving PDP to APC because APC has promised me Anyama State. So, does that give the PDP a local standard to go to court and ask for his seat to be taken back?
No, let him be tested in court and see whether that is enough reason. It's not enough reason, because if you check...
No, I'm not saying it's a reason. I said, will it give the PDP a local standard, to say, look, since you have left and there is no crisis in this party...
They'll go to court. He defected. They will challenge it in court, except if they don't want to, exercise their rights. Under normal side, they should challenge it in court. You see, if laws are written, nothing says that you cannot challenge that law in court. That is why when, yes, you have defected, fine, no problem. Why did you defect? This and that. Then somebody should go to court and challenge their reason for defection and let the court to know whether it is reasonable, whether it is valid, whether it is legal for you to take the action you have taken. That is why these Rivers State people are in a quagmire now, because as at the time this thing happened, there was no major crisis in Rivers State. The court said so. That is why that matter is not moving forward.
All right,
there was no serious issue between what's it called, Anyanwu and this other man, Udokoye. Good. Let me tell you what is going on and why Anyanwu is insisting. When Anyanwu wanted to go and contest for governorship in Imo State,
he did not resign.
Because the constitution of PDP, listen very well, the constitution of PDP did not make such a provision. The constitution only said that until you have gotten your new position and you have been sworn in and you have taken office, that is when you resign. You can see now. That is what Anyanwu is holding on to. People should understand this part properly. So when the court now ruled, based on the fact that it is assumed, just like in any other constitution and all that, your internal party mechanism, your law, what does it say? That's what Anyanwu is holding on to. That's why he now got to court to say, stay of execution.
Okay.
I was thinking that the PDP, because of whatever selfish is, I don't know, they should have looked into this and said...
All right, Barrister, thanks very much. Let's take a few messages, comments from our viewers before you give your concluding thoughts. Okay. Now, from Clement, he says, Nnamdi Kanu will keep exposing this lawless country called... okay, that's his own opinion, not that of VOP media. Barrister Darlington, your willingness to be truthful is something I truly admire. Please keep it up, okay? And Ositek Global says, I completely agree with Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, the supreme leader of IPOB, over his stand on being told to step aside from the matter of Nnamdi Kanu. She's biased and cannot give him a favorable judgment. And from Taiwo Odolade, Kanu cannot be the lawyer and the judge in his own case. I'll go for political solutions to resolve this issue, and Kanu must also be ready to accept certain conditions. And from Taiwo again, I disagree with this man about Showore and Sunday Igboho. Tinubu was not responsible for Sunday Igboho arrest and release. Also, the issue with Kanu was an issue of national security. Okay. Abetel Chimeze, Kanu will not accept certain conditions. Okay. Tony Brown, Taiwo Odunlade, why is it that it's only those bearing... No, I can't take that. And Tony Brown, there's no way that country will move forward with this height of injustice and unfairness. We are not one, and no, we are one, please. I disagree with you, and we can't, no, we will always be one. And we have, T says, but INEC itself lacks credibility. Oh, well.
Those are comments from viewers there. Some passionate comments, but let's be careful with what we put out there so we don't further heat up the polity. Well, gentlemen, let's have your closing remarks now. Prince Francis. You could merge both.
No, I've always said that let us not keep looking for peace of the graveyard. Let us look for peace that is anchored on justice, fairness, and equity. The agitations we see, even though they may be right and correct, my own stand on agitation, especially in the Southeast, is that our Southeastern leaders have not done well. They have not been accountable to the people. They have not been responsible to the people. Nothing stops the 5 states in the Southeast, the governors, from coming together and running a train network in the entire Southeast. Nothing stops them. That will be something that we could all look up and say, yes, at a point in time, certain people came together and brought development to the Southeast. But what do we have in the Southeast? We just have leaders who have no vision and no mission statement.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Prince Francis Chilaka. Barrister Darlington, let's have your concluding thoughts in about 10 minutes.
Please, I want to ask a question. Who was that person that went to court and entered the nollie prosecute against Showore's case? Was it not this present Attorney General of the Federation? And who appointed him? Was it not Tinubu? You see, people always want to rewrite history. I don't like it. Seriously, I don't. When we are talking of national issue, let us be very, very circumspect about it. I am telling you authoritatively today that if an Igbo man were to be in Aso Rock, Nnamdi Kanu will not remain in detention. That is how Nigeria has been structured by leaders who claim to be uniting us. Meanwhile, they are the ones dividing us.
That's quite unfortunate.
And the younger ones are growing with this mentality.
All right, then. Well, thank you very much, Barrister Darlington Agomo. We've been speaking with Barrister Darlington Agomo, political analyst, and Prince Francis Chilaka, also a political commentator. We do appreciate you, gentlemen, for your time and your thoughts. We'll take a break now. Well, that's it on VOP this morning. At 9 o'clock, Newspaper Review takes the airwaves. I'm Moses Humphrey wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now.
And I'm Fina Okechukwu. Remember, Nigeria is ours. It's our duty to make it work.
Well, my name is still Chukuma Okoro. Thanks for coming to this show, and bye for now.